Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Gatesy. This is Falls from Iron. This is our Three Lions review following on from yesterday's game at Wembley Stadium. Group D's final match where England overcame the Czech Republic to go through winning the group with 7 points out of a possible 9. I am joined to pick over the bones of that particular performance and possibly discussing the implications going forwards, depending on who we're going to play, with regular contributor Steve 50. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thanks, Gatesy. Nice to be on the stream tonight and dissect what was a great cure for insomnia in the second half. My daughter actually did virtually fall asleep whilst watching it, curled up. Yeah, they've done their job, haven't they? They've got out of the group. They've topped the group. It's not been pretty. I haven't enjoyed watching it, but there you go. If we win every game 1-0 like that, I'll be happy because we'll lift the trophy. I might be bored stiff in the process, but
yeah, from an entertainment point of view. How you doing, Mark? Hope you're well. From an entertainment point of view, it left an awful lot to be desired. However, I think if you turned around to any Greeks that were around in 2004 and said to them, were you overly bothered that you were absolutely bored the pants off of everybody, but you walked away with the European Championship trophy at the end of the tournament? I don't think any Greeks would have been bothered. So I'm not overly concerned. I mean, in tournament football, it's not about playing pretty and losing. It's about winning, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, and that's all.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't, especially in the second half. It was quite difficult to watch. I'll be honest. I mean, that's the team that Gareth Southgate put out, which, if we look at it there, so Pickford was in goal. The back four was Shaw. Obviously, there was no Chilwell or Mason Mount because of obviously the COVID protocols. So Luke Shaw retained his place at left back. Harry Maguire came in for Tyrone Mings. John Stones was his partner. Kyle Walker was at right back. You then had the two holding midfielders of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. And then across the offensive midfielders, you had, they've got it here as Raheem Sterling left, Jack Grealish central, Saka right. I think it was probably more Grealish left than Sterling central, in my opinion, but whatever. And then Harry Kane was up top. I mean, what were your thoughts when you saw that lineup, Steve? Did that fill you with a little bit of confidence, or were you sort of looking at it and thinking, same old, same old?
I thought it was largely predictable, actually. Considering, we had the two lads shielding with COVID. Nothing surprised me in that lineup. I felt a bit bad for Mings. Maguire coming in, but to be fair to him, I thought Maguire had a decent game. Some of his through balls were very good, but it's a standard looking English side with a lot of good players in it. But I did think Saka was really, really good, actually. Yeah. First time I sat up and really noticed him, and I thought he made a big, big difference.
Yeah,
but yeah, it didn't excite me, but it didn't make me think, we're going to get turned over here. I thought that team was enough to do a job.
Yeah. Before I go too much further, I meant to say this right at the very beginning. For anybody that is watching, if you've not already done so, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified of any new content as and when it is uploaded to the stream. I just thought I'd get that one in right at the very beginning. Sorry, Steve. Do apologise. Got to do a little bit of advertising. What can you do?
And thanks to everybody for getting us over 400.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was
terrific. Quite happy with that. Yeah.
Well,
so
I've said to Gatesy that I think we'll be pretty much at 1,000 by the end of the year in this game.
I don't know. I think we'd be pushing our luck, but listen, I'm enjoying it. What we get is what we get. So, but the more the merrier. And I'm not overly concerned if they're all West Ham fans, if we got fans of other clubs or, whatever, or just England fans, whatever. I'm not overly bothered. Come one, come all. That's my motto.
Yeah, as long as you enjoy it, that's the key thing, isn't it? Because let's face it, you don't want to sit listening to us if you find it's boring. Yeah. Well, it may be boring, but yeah, you want to get something from it, guys. So anybody who wants to come along, that'd be great.
Absolutely. But so that was the England lineup. So if we just look quickly to the Czech Republic team, there's two players that we have been outside of Soufal and Souček. The rest of the players probably, before this tournament, we'd probably never heard of most of them, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, Patrick Schick obviously got that wonder goal against Scotland, but the rest of the players, if I'd have turned around to sort of like you yesterday and said, "Oh, name me the Czech centre back," you'd have probably gone, "No idea."
Yeah, well, exactly. Other than our two lads there, I wouldn't have recognised any of those names at all. Yeah, nobody's a household name, are they? But of course, I mean, I was watching with great interest to see how Vlad and Thomas did, because it was quite, in some ways, it was quite a difficult watch, because most of me wanted England to win, but I wanted to see Vladimir Kufel, or Vlad the Impaler, as we call him, and Thomas Souček do really well. So I was really engaged in their performance as well. So when they did well and England didn't, I'm thinking, go on, boys, get stuck in.
I have to hold my hands up, despite the fact I'm sitting here in an England top. When Thomas Souček had that shot that just whistled past the post, I actually went, "Oh no," sort of thing, but it wasn't like an "oh no" that I thought he'd scored. It was like, "Oh no, he's missed," I just sort of like, I was sort of so willing Thomas Souček and Vladimir Soufal to do well that when he missed it, I was watching him, Thomas Souček, the West Ham player. I wasn't watching him as Thomas Souček, opponent of England. Really strange.
Yeah, but do you know what? I had exactly the same reaction. Yeah, James and I, because you've met my son James, we sat there and the ball's just gone wide. I've gone, oh, and then realised actually he's not playing for England. We're not meant to be pitching him in this.
Yeah, but I thought the two Czech lads from West Ham had a good game for their country, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, they are, those two, it does what it says on the tin. They'll run themselves up and down the pitch. They'll play hard. And, if you actually want to get the better of them, you've really got to work to get the better of them. I thought they were very solid and very good against, to be fair, a much superior team in terms of talent.
Oh, yeah, they didn't disgrace themselves. I mean, I know sort of the goal was created from Vladimir Soufal's flank, but I don't think that Vladimir Soufal did anything wrong. Just Jack Grealish just managed to get to the byline, managed to get a cross in, and Sterling got on the end of it. It wasn't rank bad defending on Vladimir Soufal's. He's not invincible, for goodness sake. He's going to have opposition wingers that manage to get past him and get crosses in every now and again. Doesn't make him a bad player. Doesn't mean he had a bad game. I actually thought him and Thomas Souček had a good game, but obviously the result didn't go their way. But they've still got through. I think both teams, to be honest, and I think that was kind of the problem, especially in the second half, because I think probably the Czech Republic knew that they were going through. England knew they were going through with obviously a 1-0 win, which would mean that they've got a home tie come the last 16. Whoever their opposition is out of their hands. So I think that both teams in the second half, that's probably why in the second half it looked so boring, to be perfectly honest with you, and was such a hard watch that it just
wasn't it?
Yeah, they were just sort of like, we're not going to sort of run around like lunatics. We're not going to go flying into challenges. I mean, there was only one yellow card during the whole of yesterday's match for either team. So, you know, it was two teams that were just like, they were quite happy with their lot. They were like, okay, fine, we're both going through. Yeah, not really much to speak of.
No, I mean and that is, I think you're dead right. That's why the second half was sort of meh, wasn't it? You're sitting there watching it, and I've got Malika curled up next to me, head on my shoulder, and she's sort of slowly drifting off to sleep, and I'm getting the matchsticks out to keep my eyes open. And you just think, well, okay, job done, really. 7 points out of 9. How many times have we gone into tournaments over the years with huge expectations and not gotten out of the group?
It's happened once or twice.
Yeah. And under Keegan it did, didn't it? We were 2-0 up, I think, against Portugal, Paul Scholes, and was it Lampard?
Yeah.
And then they beat us 3-2. And that we didn't get out of the group then, did we?
Managed to beat Germany though. That was quite a good thing. But yeah, you're right. That was particularly difficult. You know, like you say, 2-0 up against Portugal. They won the game 3-2, and despite beating Germany, who was it that we played in that last group game? I can't remember for the life of me. I've erased it from my memory banks.
We beat Germany actually, and we had to beat
No, I think Germany was the second game. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, 1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't. No, it was Shearer.
Was it Shearer?
Shearer got the goal. Yeah. I can't remember who it was. It was the last game we needed to win to go through, and we didn't. But yeah, I mean, there's been a few. I mean, I remember Euro '88. I remember going in first game against the Republic of Ireland, and everybody thought that would be a walk in the park, and they beat us 1-0. We then got beat by a Netherlands team that was inspired by a rampant Marco van Basten, who was the best striker of that particular part of history, the late 80s. And then obviously we had a dead rubber against the Soviet Union, and we lost all 3 games. And yeah, I mean, that was particularly disappointing. But just looking at these stats here, Steve, the Czech Republic, they managed 7 shots, only one of them on target, which was obviously a full-length diving save by Jordan Pickford. Other than that, they didn't really offer anything going forward, did they?
No. I mean, look at us. We've only had 3. We only have 5 shots and 3 on target.
Yeah, but one of them was the goal. So
yeah, but if we hadn't scored that goal, it would have just petered out into a 0-0. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it would have been a 0-0 all day long.
If those two teams really went at it, you know, I think we would have seen, certainly from the Czech Republic side, a very different Souček and a very different Kufal. I think you'd have seen a much more aggressive, much more intent on their behalf. And I think we'd have played with more intensity as well. It's enough. And, you know, I've watched worse games, largely when West Ham have been playing and on the receiving end of a 1-1.
Yeah.
You know, first game I used to was a Man City Cup game at the London Stadium, and we lost 5-0. So, you know.
Yeah, I've seen a few dog with fleas type matches, but there's 2 elephants in the room that I want to discuss with you, Steve. The first one is Harry Kane. Now, this is not me speaking as a bitter and twisted West Ham fan with an agenda. I'm speaking as an England fan looking at England's spearhead, England's captain. Whether he likes it or not, when you captain your country, you are the standard bearer. Now, I would argue that for whatever reason, whether it is tiredness, whether it is an injury that we don't know about, whether his head is all over the place, I don't know. The fact remains that this is a guy that has set very high standards. He was the Premier League's top goal scorer in the season that's just been completed. So it's not like he's had a poor season. He was the Golden Boot winner at the last World Cup. So again, this is a guy that has got experience of being successful at tournaments for his country. He's had 3 games and he's at no point looked like really scoring. I mean, he had 1 shot in the first half. It was straight at the goalkeeper. I mean, I believe that a fully on form firing Harry Kane would have put that into the corner and the keeper wouldn't have got anywhere near it. But he's put it straight at the goalkeeper. He's put it in an area where the goalkeeper, all he's got to do is get his hand down by his side and he makes the save with relative ease. So I'm not judging him as, like I say, as a bitter West Ham fan that sort of like got an agenda against Spurs' talisman. I'm looking at Harry Kane purely as an England fan and saying he's not performing to the standard that he should be as England's captain, as England's centre forward. And I just have this thing that if we take away the fact that he's Harry Kane, England's captain, for a moment, if you had any other player, and he's gone. Brilliant. Hang on, he's back. Where did you get to, Steve? Steve,
I lost you there.
Yep, you did. Where did you get to?
He's England captain. If we had any other, and I think you were about to say striker in that position.
No, well, not just any striker. If we had any other player that in 3 consecutive tournament games where they've started all 3 games, brilliant. I'm about to make my point, and he drops off. Well, I'm going to have to use you guys in the live chat. You're the only ones that I'm talking to now. Oh, now he's back. Can you please stay where you are, Steve? Don't move. You still there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, if it goes
Good.
again, I will.
Don't move.
I will throw the kids off the internet. But no, 3 consecutive games like that.
What I was going to say is, if you had a guy that 3 consecutive games they've started, 3 consecutive games for a player of their caliber, of their ability, they've performed so below that level. Would they start a 4th game?
No, absolutely not. No way.
But you know he will.
Oh, of course he will. Because Southgate's come out and publicly backed him. So there's no way he's going to drop him now. But I think pivotal for me was when Kane was in that position with his chance, I thought, 2-0. Then he hits it and it doesn't go in. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. This isn't Harry Kane on form. My instant reaction was, 2-0. Because I 100% expected him to just bury it because I think he's that good. But he was better last night, but he still wasn't good enough. And up against, okay, say we get, I don't know, Germany, the old enemy, in the round of 16. Those chances, when they come, or if they come, have got to be converted because you won't get many. You can't have a player who is off form and hoping he'll come good. You've got to go with a better bet. Now, I would drop him. And that's not as a bitter and twisted West Ham fan, though I'm quite happy to be a bitter and twisted West Ham fan when it comes to any Spurs player. But, also yesterday, surely it's got to play on his mind. City put 100 million bid in for him. That has got to be at the back of his mind. If somebody had come in and said, right, okay, we're transferring you for 100 million quid, and you wanted to go, and your club had turned it down, that has got to be frustrating.
I don't know. So, yeah.
I think Harry Kane is a superb player, but he hasn't been in the last 3 games, and there's something going on. And I think it's probably the transfer thing. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me. Something's not right, whatever it is with Harry Kane. And like I say, I'm not speaking as a West Ham fan. I'm speaking as an England fan that looks to England's captain and expects more. And I know he's capable of more. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm looking at Harry Kane and saying he's absolutely rubbish. He shouldn't be there. Blah blah blah. I'm looking at him and going, he is a world class striker. He's probably, of all the number 9s in world football right now, I think the only guy that I would put ahead of him, in my opinion, is Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah,
And he's not a million miles ahead of him. No. So, you know, I do rate Harry Kane. I'll lay my cards on the table. I rate Harry Kane. But right now, on the basis of the last 3 games, compared to where I expect his levels to be and where I think he should be, and he has been for most of his career, he's nowhere near it for whatever reason right now. And as I say, my problem is, if that was any other player that had played 3 consecutive games, 3 consecutive starts, and played so low below that level, I think they would play a 4th game. And Neil says Mbappe. I'm not too sure he's a conventional number 9, Neil. I take your point, but I'm not 100% convinced that he's. I'm talking a pure just goal scorer. I think Lewandowski's probably number 1 in that. Again, this is just my opinion, Neil. You know, if you say it's Mbappe in your opinion, then that's not a problem. But I think as a pure out and out number 9, no more, no less, I'd say Lewandowski's number 1 and Harry Kane's number 2. And as I say, he's looked anything but the second best striker in the world in that, you know, in a pure number 9, in my opinion. He's looked. I mean, there was times last night he was dropping so deep, so deep. It was like he was playing alongside the 2 defensive mids. It was ridiculous.
You see, I mean, you know what I do for a living, Gatesy, and my part of this has got to come to Southgate, his performances as well, because my job is to get the absolute best out of individuals, regardless of mood, situation, or anything else. I have to turn up and do that day in, day out, every day. And Gareth Southgate, partly, if it's not an injury, has to find a way to get the best out of Kane, regardless of what else is going on. And I think there's two things to this. And sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind. If he dropped Kane, it would be such a big kick up the backside. You can absolutely bet Kane would come out the following game, if we get a following game, and be a much, much better player, because you suddenly think, oh, hang on a minute, I'm not guaranteed to get my place all the time. At the moment, there is no pressure on him to keep his place. Therefore, if he does have a lousy performance, it doesn't matter to him. There's got to be a cost for not performing at the level you can. And if that's a cost you don't want to pay, which in Kane's instance would be being dropped, then you make sure you perform well enough so you're not.
I just wonder, though, with the performances, and I know, again, we're talking specifically about Harry Kane here. I know, just expanding it out just a little bit to the whole team, I think it's fair to say that despite the fact we won the group, despite the fact there were 3 clean sheets in 3 games, so defensively we looked very good, I think it's fair to say that what we were probably expecting in terms of performances and what we got were 2 different things.
Yeah,
but I remain hopeful that in the groups we were just doing enough. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I think that probably the players, probably the managers knew that if we played at a certain level and probably didn't need to hit 100%. And to be fair, you don't want to hit your 100% level in the group stages. You want to build and you want to reach your peak in or around the time of the final. So, I know it's all about peaking at the right time. You don't want to play your best game in the first game and then sort of like, well, where do you go from there? But I just remain hopeful that, yes, the group stage, we've looked at it and we've all had our opinions on it wasn't very good to watch and all the rest of it. I'm just clinging to the crumb of comfort that maybe when we get a team that's actually maybe on the same level or even better than us, it will force us to play in a different fashion. And maybe that the style of that other team coming onto us will leave gaps at the back that players like Sterling, players like Saka, players with raw pace can exploit because they've got all of that space to run into and really test the back line. I'm clinging to that hope. It may be false hope, but we'll take what we can get.
Well, that's more or less what happened in Italia 90. I mean, and this takes you back, I was at university at the time and I was watching the matches, and it did. The team grew into the tournament.
Yeah.
And in a different sport, in 2009, in the Rugby World Cup, 2003, 2007, we were the reigning world champions at the time. We won it in 2003. And for the 4 intervening years, we were just getting hammered by everybody. We get to the World Cup and the team grows and grows and grows and gets to the final.
I remember.
To be beaten by South Africa. So I would think there is a chance this could happen here. The difference between 1990 and now is we had Bobby Robson as manager, who, in my opinion, is one of the all-time greats.
Mm.
And now we've got Gareth Southgate, who is, well, I always remember Peach's classic comment when Harry Maguire was compared to Bobby Moore as a centre-back, and Pete said, if Harry Maguire was a dog, you'd take him out and shoot him compared to Bobby Moore. It's a classic Peach thing to say.
He's not wrong, though.
No, he's not. Peach is great, and we all love Peach. But if you compare the quality of manager we've got there now, that's where I think it could fall down. Because...
And Neil agrees with you.
Yeah.
Look at that comment.
Bobby Robson,
that's the thing. He doesn't really, I think you do need certain something in a manager because, again, the captain is the figurehead on the pitch. The manager is the figurehead off the pitch. They're the two players that we as fans, as supporters, look to. And if we can look at our captain and we can look at our manager and we can see strong personalities and all the rest of it, then I think that you'd have that little bit more confidence. We're looking at a captain that is bang out of form. We're looking at a manager that, quite frankly, on his resume up until the last World Cup, where there's the argument that did we fluke it getting to the semis? Probably we did, if we're being completely honest about it. His only other managerial accolade was getting Middlesbrough relegated.
Yeah, I mean, there is one area, though, Southgate scores over Bobby Robson handsomely, and that is he wears nicer waistcoats. Bobby Robson didn't wear waistcoats, so he's got to win that one, hasn't he? But, no, I mean, you're exactly right. When we look, okay, this is why we all wanted Moyes so much to sign the contract. When you look at him and Declan, or him and Noble, you think, these guys mean business. Second isn't good enough. When you look at Southgate off the pitch, he's just extremely nice. In competitive sport, sometimes you want to stop being nice. You have to have a ruthless streak to win, and I'm not sure he's got.
Here's a question that was posed to me. Tom's got the question here. Who would be your replacement if Southgate isn't up to it? Now, I actually answered this on because West Ham Random, and if anybody's watching, what the hell's West Ham Random? Put it into your search on YouTube. Have a look. It's a channel that our friend Peach has set up with a few friends, Adam Frankel. I pop on there from time to time. Titch from Hammers Fans United. And again, if you don't know who they are, again, go on the search, have a look, subscribe, and you'll be fine. But I was on there yesterday and I was asked the question, who would you have as England manager? And I stopped and thought about it. And do you know what? It would probably be quite controversial, and it's not going to happen. But I was asked the question, who would you like? Jurgen Klopp.
Right. Okay.
I'd love him as England manager. I know he's German, but I just think he's such a passionate guy. I think, in the brand of football that he plays, I think, if he could do something like that, or what he did at Dortmund, to England. I know international football and club football are two different things. And obviously with club football, he can go out and he can buy a winger, he can buy a centre forward. When you're a national manager, you can't do that. You've got to work with what you've got. But I just look at his enthusiasm and just sort of, his general demeanour. And he always looks like he's got a little something about him. Do you know what I mean? He always looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, a little bit of passion, a little bit of fight. And I look at Gareth Southgate and I see the complete and total opposite, quite frankly. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but I don't really look at Gareth Southgate and think, I hope he's a lovely guy. I hope he does lots of things for charity. I couldn't care less. I want him to go out there and I want him to really, set the team up in a way that gets the very best out of them. And despite the fact that we got through, despite the fact there were 3 clean sheets, do I think that he's getting the very best out of them? No, I don't.
See, my pick, to answer Mark's question, I think I did. Actually, Mark, I thought he was brilliant. Bobby Robson was one of his greats during his time as England manager. He got us to the semi-final, our best performance since '66. And actually, although it was one of my worst nights watching a football match in the semi-final, and I actually watched it with a German, which made it even worse. We were all over Germany. We should have beaten them that night.
Just to pick Tom up on this one, I don't know if you know, Tom, but Hansi Flick is actually taking over as German national team manager once the Euros are over. He's obviously being replaced by Julian Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich. So Hansi Flick's going to the German national team. That's already been decided. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah. But my choice for England manager, and this is more controversial than you, because I think he's a great cup manager, I'd have Mourinho. I think with
he
Mourinho,
would be one of the ones I'd consider.
Yeah. And I know Mourinho of late has had his troubles at clubs. But one thing Mourinho doesn't shy away from is if someone's out of form, he doesn't play them. Mourinho is a serial winner, and he's an excellent, excellent cup manager. And I think it would fit quite nicely because he wouldn't have long enough around the players to really fall out with them that much. I'm sure he could still achieve it somewhere, but if he's fallen out with somebody, he just wouldn't pick them.
Yeah.
So
the other elephant in the room, I said there was 2. The other elephant in the room I want to discuss, and again, this possibly is me as a West Ham fan looking at it, and I'm hoping that there's nothing in it. Declan Rice's, first of all, I would say that the style of play that we've seen from Declan Rice, certainly in the Scotland game and in the first half yesterday, is quite far removed from the Declan Rice that we've seen at West Ham. He's not just a defensive midfield. He's not just a shield in front of the back line to break up the play and give the ball to the other midfielders to do their thing. That's not Declan Rice. Declan Rice can win the ball, but he can then bring it forward, and you've gone again. So so I'm talking to no one in particular. Oh, and you're back. Where did you get to? Steve?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Where did I get to with you?
Rice can win the ball.
Yeah, he can win the ball, but we also know that he can drive with the ball at his feet into the opposition territory quite deep, and every now and again he'll get a shot away. Against Scotland, he only did it right at the last knockings of the game. In the 45 minutes yesterday, didn't really play that role either. And then obviously he's given the hook for a player that hasn't really played in the last 3 months. Now, I'm a little bit concerned that Declan Rice is being played in a way, again, that is not getting the best out of him. I mean, for me, fundamentally, you pick players on the basis of what they do for their club teams. How you doing, Happy? You've picked players on the basis of what they've done for their club teams over, the course of the previous however many, matches, weeks, months, maybe even the entire season, whatever your criteria is. And they'll then tell them to play in a completely different fashion. That, to me, makes no sense. For me, you pick a player and you say, right, do what you've done that's got you here in the first place. Don't change. Just go out there, play your natural game. And you look at Declan Rice these last couple of games, and I haven't seen it. I say last couple of games, the last game and a half, because he was obviously brought off. Now, I have a little bit of concern. I don't know about you. Is he, whoever we play in the next game, is Declan Rice going to be starting on the bench for Jordan Henderson? And you've gone again. This is what, 4 times? I think your internet needs changing, mate. I think you need to get onto. Oh, he's back. Hang on. I think you need to talk to your internet service provider, Steve.
Oh, yeah, back. Excellent. Yeah. Henderson wasn't fit. Southgate still took him. And
same with Maguire.
Yeah, which means Southgate really, really wants him. And if it's a choice over Henderson or Rice, I think Rice is on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget, this is a manager that said when he walked through the door, obviously taking after Allardyce got the tin, I will pick on form, not on reputation. I do remember that quote coming directly from Southgate himself. And here we are, Maguire, he's not been picked on form because he missed several games before the squad was picked. Jordan Henderson misses the best part of 3 months, and they're both included. And one person that wasn't included was Jesse Lingard. And if he was in absolutely scintillating form for the bulk of it, you picked on form, not on reputation, Mr. Southgate. I don't believe you. Sorry, I don't.
Well, I mean, with my West Ham hat on, if Deck sits on the bench, that can only be a good thing for us. It makes him less attractive to other clubs. Unfortunately, I don't think you should drop Deck and put Jordan Henderson in there. But again, I'm probably seeing it through claret and blue coloured glasses. But I think Deck, if he is given the license to play his game, is a cracking player and is exactly what England need. But I do honestly think that Henderson will start the next match because that's who Southgate wants. If you take a player, you must really, really want him in your team to be able to sit there and go, yeah, okay, I'll just wait until you're fit and then you'll be straight in. So we wait and see. But I think it would be very, very hard. I think it would be very, very harsh on Deck. But I'm used to England managers making bad decisions over the years.
Okay. Right. Well, we're going to get down to the player ratings. So, guys, any of you that are in the live chat, if you want to get your ratings in as well, we'd be really pleased to get your opinions as well. So, Steve, we'll start with the goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford. Your mark out of 10, and no half marks.
No, I do understand this. I'm under orders. Pickford, give him a 7. Didn't do anything wrong. Good save. Yeah, decent. As far as I'm concerned, it wasn't an outstanding performance, but 7 seems to be about right. I would have thought.
Yeah, I did. I was on Gonzo's stream a little bit earlier, and I gave Pickford a 7. Again, didn't have much to do, but sometimes as a goalkeeper, you could do absolutely nothing for 89 minutes, and then in the 90th minute, you're called upon to make a save which either preserves a point or keeps the 3 points that your team have worked hard to get. So
Yeah,
it's the most important position on the pitch for me. It's the most specialised position on the pitch, and he obviously pulled off a save. I mean, you could argue, oh, it was one for the the cameras sort of thing, but he had to dive full length to get it. In fairness, it was a good save, and he hadn't really done anything up to that point. It had been quite easy to lose concentration and make an error. So, and he didn't. So I'd give him a 7, easy. So we'll go with the right back, Kyle Walker.
Clean sheet. Didn't do a lot wrong. I'll give him a 7 as well. I thought he was okay, decent. It's very difficult to mark when you've kept a clean sheet. It's quite difficult to mark the defenders down too low because they've done their job, haven't they?
Yeah.
You're out there to make sure the opposition don't score. And that's what they did.
I thought he was our best defender. I'll be perfectly honest. I think that Kyle Walker a couple of times he was in a position where he's facing his own goal and he's got a ball coming in and he looked as cool as a cucumber. He did it twice in the match. He literally just chested the ball back to Pickford, cool as you like. Anything could have happened, but he used all of his experience and just, like I say, didn't do anything fancy, didn't try and sort of like overcomplicate it, just defended well, defended simply. And, I think he was our best defender. And to be fair, I don't think that really we had too much to do. Again, same as what I said with Pickford. Defensively, I don't think we were asked too many questions. We're going to be asked more questions in the next game. But I think he was the standout defender for me. So I'm going to give him a 7. We'll go to the centre backs. We'll go to John Stones.
I give him 7 as well. Again, not spectacular, very solid. I was quite happy with John Stones' performance. Yeah, he's a good player, and he hasn't done his usual John Stones thing, which is make a mistake that could lead to an opportunity. So, yeah, 7.
I'm going to give him a 6 because, as I say, if I'm working on the basis that Walker was our best defender, then he has to get the best mark out of the back four. So if I gave him a 7, I'm giving John Stones a 6. He didn't do anything wrong, but I don't think that he was really asked too many questions. So I'm going to give him a 6. So Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire. I thought he was our best defender. I actually think some of the through balls he played made a huge difference. And I can see, I mean, where I was on it. I didn't want Maguire to start at all. I mean, when you and Andy were chatting, and I didn't rate him at all, but I thought he played well. So I'm going to give Maguire an 8. Just on the basis of a couple of through balls he played, which absolutely split the defence and opened up a goal scoring opportunity for us. I'm not just basing my mark on Maguire's contribution at the back, but also the contribution going forward. I was quite impressed.
Fair enough. I'm still going to stick with a 6. I take your point that offensively he probably did a bit more than Stones, but I'm probably judging him purely on his defensive duties that he put in, and I don't think he was significantly better or worse than Stones. Should I revise it? I mean, I take your point. And I'm not allowed half points. No, do you know what? I think Do you know what? You've convinced me. I'm going to move him up to a 7. I'm going to move him up to a 7, but I would say he's a 7 minus and Walker's a 7 plus. So I'll still remain. I believe Walker was the better defender, but there you go. Anyway, Luke Shaw.
7 again, clean sheet, played decently. I can't mark him as high as Maguire, but I think across the back four we were solid. Not a lot asked of us, but you can only defend what comes at you, can't you?
Yeah.
And they did okay. Yes, so 7 for him.
Okay, I'm going to go 6. I'm going to go again. 6 is not a bad mark. I mean, people look at a 6 and think that that's a bad mark. It's not. I think 6 for me is sort of average, okay sort of level. Nothing spectacular. You're performing. It's a par score. When you start hitting the 5s, that's when it's like, ooh, that's not so great. So a 6 isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I think he was better than what he was against Scotland, but it's not really saying an awful lot, to be perfectly honest with you, because I don't think any of the players really came out with an awful lot of credit. Oh, and we've lost Steve. And in comes Peach. It's almost like magic. You've turned up as Pete is as oh, hang on, he's back. Steve, sort that internet out, mate.
Peach.
Yeah, just as you've dropped out, in comes Peach. Right, Peach, we're doing player rating. So we're on a player rating. So we're moving on now to the defensive mid. So the first one, Declan Rice. Peach, what's your mark out of 10 for Declan Rice?
8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your reasoning?
I thought he broke up, played very well. Unsung hero once again. I know he's not being able to like go past the halfway line, but that's all Mr. Gareth Southways. Why isn't he letting him play like how he wants to play and how he does play? I don't get it.
Yep, I agree.
Like what's in he the manager? Sorry, Gatesy. I went out this morning. I went to the grocery store to get 2 things. Went on Jake's show, did a match reaction, started watching something, and then had a little kit, man, and just woke up. And like I was like, oh, thank God, it's still like in the midst of like 2:00. So I do apologize. But wasn't Gareth Southgate like? Didn't he say something about he wants to run with a team that are like informed type things. Like he wants to run with a team.
We were discussing this earlier that he's
were you? Okay, I'm sorry.
On form, not on reputation. It doesn't explain how he's got Henderson and Maguire into the 26-man squad when he's left Jesse Lingard at home.
This tournament, honestly, Gatesy, this tournament is screaming out Jesse Lingard. This tournament is screaming out Jesse Lingard. And I think that might cost us the tournament.
Well, it's probably, to be honest, it's probably screaming out as well for a guy that he's got on the bench and got his first 7 minutes or so yesterday in Jadon Sancho.
Oh, yes. 100%. What? Yes. Yes.
But anyway, so 8 for Declan Rice. So back on topic. So
let's go on.
Declan Rice. Steve, your mark.
I'm going to give him a 6, not because he played badly, but he's just so shackled.
Yeah.
You know, it's so frustrating to watch Dec play in this system. And 6 was the best mark he could get, being asked to do what he was asked to do.
Yeah.
You know, I watched Dec week in, week out, as do both of you guys, and he is so much more than the performance we saw last night. Actually, I'm going to bump him up to a 7 because he did the crossed hammer sign with Soufal and Soucek at the end. That's worth an extra mark in anybody's
Wasn't that beautiful?
It's after the final whistle.
Steve, I retweeted that again and again and again and again. That was so beautiful. What a beautiful moment.
I'm going to be real controversial here. I'm going to mark Declan Rice as a 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 5 because and this again is probably on the basis of what I know that Declan Rice is capable of, rather than what Declan Rice produced. Again, I don't think he had a bad game, and I'm also working on the basis that he only contributed 45 minutes. Again, not his fault, but he only contributed 45 minutes of a performance. Now, had he gone into the second half, that mark might well have gone up. But and again, I appreciate that he's probably working under orders, but I just think that, why not just go, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what I know I can do. The game's a dead. I mean, Tom said it earlier. It's a dead rubber. So play with a little bit of freedom. Play with, express yourself, for goodness sake. You've done this all season. This is what's got you here. Why not? Maybe it's because he's a young player that maybe he doesn't feel that he's possibly established enough to be able to do it. Maybe, but I like I say, I'm working on the basis that the Declan Rice that I've seen the last couple of games for England is a million miles away from the Declan Rice that we've seen for West Ham, and that got him there. So I'm going to go with a 5.
And you know what? It's almost like Steve's gone with the 6, you've gone with the 5. It's almost like we're marking Gareth Southgate, because Rice is doing what he's been told to do, and if he was able to play the way that we know he can play, he gallops forward like a horse. But Southgate isn't letting him do that, and I don't understand why. Like, hands in the air, man.
Too safe.
Yeah.
So we'll go on to his CDM partner in the first half anyway. Calvin Phillips, Peach.
Wasn't impressed. 4. Wasn't impressed. I'd like to see, and this might ruffle a few feathers, but I'd like to see Foden beside Rice, because I think if Southgate's going to play Rice as defensively as he is, then Foden's the one that will be able to spring forward. Because if he ain't going to let Rice spring forward, Phillips, he's good, but Foden, he's better. So, yeah, I'd like to see Foden in there instead of Phillips. So, yeah, Phillips before.
Okay. Steve?
5. I didn't think he was remarkable. Again, defensive midfielders, 2 of them.
Yeah. In a game that was a dead rubber.
Yeah, I think 2 defensive midfielders really hampers both of them. And I feel really rotten giving them these sorts of marks, because it's not their fault. But
I bet he doesn't, Neil, because Ireland ain't even at the tournament. I bet he doesn't. And I'm half Irish.
Yeah. I feel rotten marking them like that, but the performances they're giving are the performances they're being allowed to give. So it's more of a reflection on Southgate than them players. I think Pete's got that dead right.
Yeah. I'm going to go 6. I think that he possibly nudges into a 6. Again, if I'm working on the basis that I've given Rice on a 45-minute performance a 5, and I say that he would have made at least a 6 had he carried on that performance into the second half, Phillips was on the same trajectory, in my opinion, so I give him a 6 on that basis. I don't think that he had, again, I think 6 is like he's done okay. He's not done anything special, but he's not done anything that's been ranked bad. That's a 6 for me. So I'm going to go with a 6 for Calvin Phillips. And now we move to the offensive midfield trio, just behind the striker. We'll start with Bakary Saka. Peach.
You know what? He doesn't even get a number. He gets a word. and the word is refreshing. Like it was refreshing to see somebody with like I talked to young Jake about this, and
Yep.
it was that energy that we were missing. And I think Bellingham can bring that energy too. I think Sancho can also bring that energy.
Yep.
I think Mikel Antonio could have brought that energy as well, but that's a different story. But yeah, it's that energy
Possibly going to be doing it for Jamaica, Peach, in the Gold Cup.
I know.
Yeah.
I think Gareth Southgate missed out on that one. And that's his fault. So whatever. I think I'd give him an 8, man. Yeah, I would, because just for the energy and the hunger. He was chasing everything. He was chasing flies on the pitch. Like yeah, 8 all day long.
Steve?
Well, I gave Maguire an 8, and I thought Saka was our best player on the pitch, so I've got to give him a 9. I thought he was superb.
Brilliant, Steve.
I can't not give him a 9 because I've given Maguire an 8. And do you know what? It was good to watch him.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just good to watch that young man get the ball and go for it. And I really, really enjoyed it.
Me too, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I know you might think somebody else was man of the match, Gatesy, but I thought he was our best player. And so he's got a 9 for me.
I'm going to give him an 8. And you're right. I do think someone else was man of the match, and we've only got another 3 players left, and you know one of them that it isn't. So that narrows it down for you. But I think that he played. He was exactly. You know, I think someone said it earlier. He was a breath of fresh air. He played. He played the way that I wanted Rice to play. He played without fear of failure. He played just. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna express myself. I'm gonna be true to myself, and I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna represent my country with pride, passion, determination. And as I say, I hope and pray that in the next game that Declan Rice does exactly the same thing, because as I say, I think he's possibly, like I say, I don't think there's any doubt he's working to orders from the manager. So because he's not, but Saka, however, whether he was playing to orders or whether he wasn't, he was absolutely brilliant. But I don't give him the man of the match award. I'll come to that. I'm giving him an 8.
Gatesy. It's like, I'm sorry to interject, but it's like, you see Saka, he went out and he played football, his football, what he knows, how he plays, like, and that's what was refreshing, like, and he had no fear, and it was beautiful to see.
And that's what I want to see. I don't want 100%. To see fearful football. I do not want to see, like I say, the players that have been selected on merit. They've been selected because of what they've done, their style of play. And it annoys me that when we get them in an England shirt, we tell them to play a different fashion.
I don't understand that.
Makes no sense. Anyway, we move on. Raheem Sterling, Peach, the goal scorer. In fact, our only goal scorer in the tournament.
Wow, I tell you, man. There's only one man in the match for me, and that's him.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only one man in the match for me, and that's him. Both goals that we scored have come from him. It was a beautiful ball by Grealish. Like, Grealish gets, like, second man of the match, but, like, or assistant manager of the match. But Sterling, when he puts it on, he puts it on. And he's kind of like a Freddie Canute. Like, he'll show up, like, the light switches on, and then sometimes the light switches off. But when the light switch is on, he shows up. Like, he was unlucky not to get that little chip over the goalkeeper in the very beginning. Like, and that would have been a beautiful goal. And yeah, he's up for it. So my rating on Sterling would be a 9.
Okay, Steve?
8. I I can't give him a 9 because I thought Saka was the best player on the pitch, but I thought he was damn good.
Yeah. Go on.
You know, so he gets an 8 for me, and it's a good 8. It's not a just scraping into 8. It's a good solid 8.
That's like an 8+. It's an 8+, Steve-O, isn't it? It's an 8+.
Well, not quite.
I'm not a million.
I'll explain why in a moment, Peach. But
I'm going to.
I thought he was good.
I give him
lively. Yeah, I'll play him again, definitely.
Yeah,
you go.
I'm going to give him a 7. I'm going to give him a 7, but it's a 7+.
There
Again,
you
it's a strong 7. It's not a. It's bordering on an 8, but it's not quite an 8. I think that Saka was superior to him in my opinion.
He was
Again,
phenomenal.
I've given Saka the 8.
Yeah.
So I'm giving Sterling the 7, but you know, it's a good. Again, that's a good mark in my opinion. Jack Grealish, Peach.
Oh, so do we have the new coming of Gaza? From what I saw, we might have, but he has so much more in his locker. For this to be his first start, it's kind of disappointing. Where was he against Croatia? Where was he against Scotland? Like what? It's like Sancho. Sancho got 6 minutes. Like really, you're gonna give the man 6 minutes? Like that's a kick in the stomach, man. Like so Grealish. I'm gonna give Grealish a solid 8. And I think there's a lot more to come. And I think we're going to be giving Grealish 10 soon. And you know what I noticed? He didn't go to the ground too much as he always does yesterday.
To be honest, if he's wearing an England shirt, mate, and he's winning free kicks and penalties, I couldn't care less. He can throw himself to the ground all he likes.
No, 100%. But
I'm very fickle.
I agree with you, but he wasn't going down to the ground like raindrops. He was kind of like, standing up, doing a bit of trickery. Good passes, reading the game, like through balls, good running off of the ball. I was impressed. I know what he has in his locker, and we haven't seen that yet. So, yeah, no, solid 8 for me, man. Every day, all day long.
Steve, over to you.
Yeah, an 8 that is so close to a 9, it should be a 9, but isn't.
Yeah.
You know, he 8++. I thought he was terrific. I can't give him a 9 because with Saka 9, but I thought it was really tight between those two for man of the match. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
So
well, I can give him a 9, and I'm going to.
Yeah.
I think it was his trickery, it was his craft, it was his guile that was the crucial factor in us getting the victory. I really do. If he doesn't put, if he doesn't sort of like, and like I say, Vladimir Soufal, I'm not having a pop at him, but obviously he's managed to find just that little pocket of space, get to the byline just ahead of Soufal. No shame in that. Grealish is a fantastic player, and Grealish has managed to get it in. I thought he was tricky. He had, lots of tricks in his locker that he was bringing out every now and again and showing Gareth Southgate what he can do. And if he doesn't start, in my opinion, in the next game, I don't know what Gareth Southgate is watching. I don't know what Gareth Southgate is after. For me, he was our best player. I think he was like I say, he was finding pockets of space. He was running with the ball. He was, drawing players into him and creating space for others. I thought he was superb. I really do. If he doesn't play, like I say, if he doesn't play the next game, something's wrong.
I agree with you on the fact that, that's a good call. I agree with you on the fact that if he doesn't play next game, Gareth Southgate is on something we don't know about. But I still think Sterling for me was man of the match. But if Gareth Southgate doesn't, and we all got opinions, which is good about the channel. But if Gareth Southgate does not start Grealish next match, he's on something that we don't even know about, dog. He got some drink from Mars that he's drinking and sipping, and because it was plain to the bare eye to see Grealish made the difference. Real talk, man.
Yeah.
Real talk. Good. That's a good call. That's a good call, Gatesy. 9 for Grealish. Big yourself
Yeah.
up.
Cheers, dude. Right, so we move on to Harry Kane, Peach.
Do we have to?
Yeah, got to do it, mate. Sorry.
Let me show you this. And I did a match reaction for Young J, AK to the E West Ham unofficial. If y'all haven't checked his channel, please check it.
Check it out. Give him a subscribe.
He's the future of us. You get what I'm saying? He's brilliant, man. But let me tell you this. I went to the grocery store and I had to pick up 2 things. And there's this Spurs supporter there. And he's like, "Is it coming home? Is it coming home?" I'm like, "It's coming home if you check your man there. Like, your man ain't giving us nothing." "Oh, no. He's the best. He's the best player in the Premier League." I'm like, "Well, he ain't the best player in the Euros." He's like, "Oh, no. It's because he's not getting any service." I said, "Bollocks. He's getting service. He's just like, he's the service that he's getting it. But then the service he's giving is like out wide, save, post, this, that, the third." Like, I was like, no way, man. Like, it ticked me off. Like, Kane, you know what he is capable of. But this season, he has been that player that showed he can play deep. But that's with Son in the team. So it's like he showed he could be that player that like kind of goes deep and passes to Son, and then they do like a little bit of 1-2-1-2, and everything's good. But it's like Southgate's trying to recreate that, but we don't got a Sun. So it's like we got a Moon. But it's like I know he has it in his locker. It bothers me to death. It's not about service. Homeboy's getting service. Like he's getting more service than Haller ever got, man. And it's like, so with Kane, man, yesterday he had that chance it was a good cut in. Like that was clever. That was clever football. Like when he was on the left and he kind of like he's going on and then he cut in, shot it, and it was a good save by that keeper. Why don't we like have a look at that keeper? Because that keeper is a good keeper for Czech Republic, man. And it's a beautiful save. Yeah. Gatesy, beautiful save, man. For Kane, like not to be mean and not to be too nice, I'll just like roll the dice and keep it even, man. 5. And that's a compliment. That's a compliment. That is a blood clot compliment, dog, because 5, that was hard for me to say. 5 is hard for me to say. So he's more a 3 or 4. But like I know what he has in his locker, and I think he'll come through. So I'll give him a please come through and show up. Like he looks stream crackered, man. I don't know if it's because of the season. Something looks wrong with him, man. It's not like he looks like a shadow of himself. It almost looks like a lookalike's playing in this position. So I'll give him a 5, but it's on like the 3 or 4. 5 being nice.
Okay. Steve, are you with us?
Steve-o!
Are you with us? Are you there, Steve? His Poundland internet's playing around. Are you there, Steve?
Yeah. No, the internet's playing around all over the globe, man. It's messed up, man. It's messed up.
Talk to me, Steve.
So what's your Kane? Like let Steve get back. He'll come back.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
4. Yeah, he's gone. I think. Oh, are you there?
Come on, Steve-o.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right.
I haven't got a clue what's going on with my stream.
So let's get it on. Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, I'll make this comment and I'll go because otherwise it's going to completely muck up what you guys are doing. Harry Kane,
no, stay on.
3. I've got to give him better than the 0 I gave him the other day.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I still thought he was pretty poor. So, yeah, 3's the best I can give him.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as harsh, but I'm giving him a 4 because, and again, it's probably on the basis of I know that he's a world-class striker. You know, take off my West Ham goggles for a minute. He's a world-class striker. He's England's captain. I want him to do well. I want him to lift this trophy. And I couldn't care less if Tottenham fans crow about it, Tottenham's, number 9 was England's captain when they won the Euro. Great, fine, not a problem. Crack on.
Yep.
We've got the World Cup in 66. You can have the Euros in 2021. I'm happy with that. But I got to call it as I see it. He was better than he was against Scotland, but he was absolutely hopeless against Scotland. I think I gave him a 1. He was better, but like I say, that shot he had in the first half, an on-form Harry Kane buries that. 99 times out of 100, he buries it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, he put it in an area where the keeper, if the keeper didn't make the save, then the keeper's not a very good goalkeeper. So I'm going to give him a 4. I think he was dropping again. I don't know. Is he doing it under orders, or is he doing it because he feels he's got to? He was dropping so deep at times.
I think so
deep. And I'm like, you're the striker, for goodness sake. You're the number 9. You need to be occupying their defenders. You don't want to be in front of ours. That's not where you're supposed to be. That's where Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips have been detailed to go.
Yes.
You should be up there. I don't
that's
understand
on instruction. That's on instruction, Gatesy.
I don't know.
It's on instruction.
I don't know, because he does that for Spurs from time
100%.
He does that for Spurs as well, though, Peach, and that's not under orders from Southgate.
No, I know, but I think Southgate has seen that. I think Southgate has seen that and say, "Hey, boy, why don't you do this? Like, what you doing for Spurs and that? But do it a bit more, because I think it'll help England out, because we got enough forwards." And it's like, no, he's a striker. He should be central, forward, fox in the box. Done.
Yeah. No, I'm going to give him, I'm giving him a 4. I don't think that we're seeing the real Harry Kane, because for me, the real Harry Kane buries that chance last night. Absolutely buries it. In fact, the real Harry Kane has probably got about 3 goals already by now. So, like I say, don't know what's going on. Don't know if it's an injury he's carrying that we don't know about. Don't know if it's the transfer speculation. Don't know if he's just dog tired. Whatever the reason is, the real Harry Kane, we're in the last 16 now. Will the real Harry Kane, the captain of England, will he please stand up?
Yes, with the real Harry Kane, please stand up. Please stand up.
We need him.
Please stand up. It's like, Gatesy, honestly, I think he's just cream crackered, man. Like, I think the season's taking a toll on him. And I just think he's cream crackered, man. Honestly.
Then maybe in a dead rubber game, Peach, which yesterday essentially was, maybe yesterday was the opportunity to rest him, because you're not going to rest. You're not going to rest him in a last 16 match, are you?
Nope. But you know what? What I wanted to see yesterday, Gatesy, and I told you this on, I think it was another stream that was on. What I said, I was like, why don't you bench Harry Kane, put Calvert-Lewin on, and then put Kane on last 20 minutes. He'll have like a rocket up his backside to want to prove something and do something. He's just having a walk in the park right now.
Yeah.
It's like you and Bubbles. It's like you and Bubbles. It's like he's having a walk in the park for you and Bubbles. Honestly.
Make sure you take your poo bags, let me tell you. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I'm not going to bother with. I'm not going to bother with the substitutes, because I think it's a bit difficult to rank substitutes sometimes. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there.
No, Gatesy, giving Jordan Sancho 6 minutes, that's like a backslap.
I can't mark him on that. I can't mark him on that. I mean, I might be able to mark Jordan Henderson.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody can mark him on that. Nobody can mark him on that. It's like how when like Moyes put somebody on like in the 91st minute, and there's like 2 minutes of injury time. I don't get it. Like, yo, if you're gonna put Henderson, who is a knob, like big knob, if you're gonna put Henderson on to rest Rice when we got like a week rest anyway, like not a week rest, but 1 week's rest. If you're gonna put on Henderson for Rice, like, I don't get that. I don't get. I'll talk about the substitutions if you don't want to. If you're gonna give
Peach,
go.
I want to get a move on, because the football's been going on for the last 15 minutes, and I want you to wrap this up at 8 o'clock.
I'm just pissed off. Then, like, why did he take off Bryce? Why did he put on Sancho for like 6 minutes? It's like, It's like you go to a strip club like with the man them and your friends, and then it's like you got one guy at the table that's like, oh, we got to go home now, like the driver, designated driver, we got to go home now. That was what we got to taste the sense of. We did to get the whole cuisine.
I'm a happily married man, Peach. I don't even know what a strip club is. I really don't.
You know what I'm saying, though. In fact, it was a tease.
I don't know what a strip club is, Peach. I'm a happily married
man. You're talking bollocks out your mouth, dog.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's because your wife is like right there, dog. That's because your wife is right there. Good boy, but you're talking
of course,
shit.
You know. Guys, before I wrap this up, you know the drill. If any of you can copy the link that we've got in below the stream that's on YouTube and on Facebook, it's that banner there. It's like I say, it's in the description below YouTube and Facebook. Copy it, paste it onto your social media platforms. It's about young Isla Caton needing to get the treatment for the neuroblastoma. This really is a battle against the clock, guys. Don't wait till tomorrow to do it. As Arnold Schwarzenegger says, do it now. So, and if you can put some money in the pot, you've got the Just Giving address there, and we'd urge you to do so. The more, the merrier. Further to that, don't forget, we've got our hashtag Forged Goals for Isla. And I put a $5 in the pot yesterday again for the goal that Sterling got. And obviously, any of you guys that have pledged to put money in the pot, whether it's per goal, whether it's, this, that, whether it's a $5 or whether it's 50p, whatever it is, thank you very much. And get that trending on Twitter. Link us in on it. Keep us informed, and we'd greatly appreciate it. And the last thing to say, of course, if you've got this far, 1 hour and 16 minutes in, unless you've already done it, of course, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified of any new content. Please feel free. You don't need my permission to do this. Please feel free to take the YouTube link and put it onto your social media platform for any of our streams, whether it's this one, any ones we've done in the past. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to put our channel address onto your YouTube, or not to your YouTube, to your social media platforms like your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, and say this is a sort of like a bunch of idiots that chat about football, have a look at them and laugh at them, please, by all means, do so. It's not a problem. And hopefully we'll get more people the message about Isla and get her, on the straight and narrow sooner rather than later. Fingers crossed. Peach, I am going to end it there, my friend. And thank you very much for your appearance. Thanks again to Stay50. Apologies for his internet, obviously doing its thing. But, it's one of those things. He can't help it. Peach, only one thing left to say, mate.
Thank you, Gatesy. And come on, you 3 Lions. And come on, you Irons. Done.
You know it. Come on, you 3 Lions, and come on, you Irons. Stay safe, guys.